วัสดีค่ะ Welcome to Hot Thai Kitchen. Christmas and New Year is coming soon, and many of you are going to be cooking, hosting dinner parties for a lot of people, which is fun, but it could also be stressful. Stress out no more, because today I'm going to share with you the tricks that I've learned from working with professional caterers and doing catering of my own, so that you can cook an impressive meal and still enjoy the party. For my own dinner parties, I like to use these planning templates because they help me stay organized, save me a lot of time, and spare me a lot of mistakes. So I'll talk about how I use these, and if you like them, you're more than welcome to download them from my website so you can try them out. There are two things that are absolutely key when it comes to cooking for a large group, and that is one, spreading out the workload, and two, planning of the details, which is actually quite easy to do using this template. So, say a party is on Saturday. I'm going to give you a 5-day countdown plan of action starting from Tuesday, and you see how much easier everything seems when you plan ahead. At a minimum of 4 days before your party, you want to plan out what you're going to cook and write it down. Many people underestimate the power of writing down the menu on a piece of paper. It actually gives you a chance to look at everything with a bird's eye view and see if all the dishes balance each other well. For example, this here is the first draft of my menu. So I've thought about, okay, what do I want to cook? Here are some of the things I think would be good. And now I see that I have 2 stewy things on the menu. I don't want that. So I'm going to get rid of my masaman curry and I'm going to do shrimp cakes instead. And then I re-look at it and then I realize now I no longer have any poultry on the menu, which is, something you want to have. But now I have 2 red meats, so I'm going to get rid of my nam tok beef and then do Pai's famous fried chicken instead. And now I'm looking, okay, it looks good. I have some seafood, some chicken, some beef. Everything looks well balanced. I'm happy with the menu. Now, once you've got what you think is your final menu, put it away, don't look at it until tomorrow. So now that you've had a chance to sleep on your menu, you want to look at it again the next day with a fresh eye and see if it's still something that you think is a good idea, because oftentimes you'll catch something now that you didn't before, or you will have come up with a better idea between then and now. Now, once you've decided on a final menu, we're going to write a shopping list. Now, this is where my template comes in really handy. I first list out all the dishes across the top, and then for each dish, I list all the ingredients. Even if it's a repeat from another dish, write it anyway. If you need to buy a specific amount of something, don't forget to include that here as well. If you're working from a recipe, you can just copy down the ingredient list off of the recipe. But if you're freestyling like I often do, this step actually helps you think about and streamline what you're going to do in your head and help you mentally prepare for it. This may seem tedious, but trust me, it eliminates the chance of you forgetting anything. And then, if you created this list on the computer, you can print it out, and you're going to take this and check your pantry and cross off anything that you already have, and cross off anything that's a repeat from another dish. And now you have your complete shopping list, and you can just take this to the store. You want to do your shopping 2 days before your party. Not the day before, and definitely not the day off, because you want to be able to focus on those days just on prepping and cooking and not running around town looking for ingredients. And it's also going to give you enough time to come up with a plan B in case it turns out that something you need isn't available. The only exception to that is highly perishable things such as fresh seafood, which you want to get the morning of the party if possible. So the party is tomorrow. You should spend today doing everything that can be done the day before. Now, this is where the second template that I have called the prep schedule comes in really, really handy. But first, let's talk about what kinds of things can be done the day before. You can cut and marinate your protein. You can also cut most of your vegetables today. If multiple vegetables go in the same dish, you can put them in the same container like a little kit. And if they don't go in at the same time, you can separate them using parchment or saran wrap. You can make all your sauces and dressings. And finally, you can make an entire dish and be done with it a day ahead of time, such as braised and stewed dishes, casseroles, and they'll even taste better the next day. And here's how you can use the prep schedule to help you plan out your prep. So on the prep schedule, you put all the dishes down on one side on the first column. And on this column day before, you're going to put down the tasks that can be done ahead of time for that dish. And on this column for day of, you're going to put down whatever tasks are left to do. Once you've done that, you're going to fill in this little column labeled P, which stands for priority. This is where you mark what needs to be done first or towards the end. For example, making a stew takes hours, so that's going to be your first priority, so I'm going to mark that with a 1. This is also going to take a while, so I'm going to do that second. I mark that with a 2. Soaking the rice, I want to do that in the evening because I don't want it soaking for too long, so I'm going to mark that with PM. And then everything else that doesn't have a mark, I'll do that anytime in between. And as you're doing your prep, you just have this with you and cross things off as you're done. This right here is going to save you so much time and stress because you no longer have to think about what you need to do next. You're just tackling the list one thing at a time. And the party is today! And since you've done such a good job with your advanced prep, today you just focus on the food quality, presentation, getting things out on schedule, and being a wonderful, non-stressed out host. You should have your priorities figured out for all your tasks before you start executing, and it's a little bit trickier today because things are time sensitive. So it helps me to think about things in 2 directions. What needs to be done and what can be done from the first minute going forward, and then what needs to be done from the last minute back up. Here's what I mean. On our prep schedule, let's first think going forward. What needs to be done and what can be done first? For example, I want to prep the fish first for steaming and just leave it in the fridge so that I don't have to worry about it again until it's time to cook. And then cooking the mushrooms for the salad, they don't need to be served hot, so I can do that second and get it out of the way. After you get your first priorities out of the way, you want to flip your thinking around and start marking things that need to be done as close to serving time as possible. For example, our fish needs to be served as soon as it's done, and it needs 10 minutes to cook, so I'm going to start cooking that 15 minutes to go time, minus 15. So I give myself a little 5-minute margin for plating and other things that might come up. I also have a bunch of stuff labeled as D for delegate, which brings me to an important point. Get somebody to help you if at all possible. Don't try to do it all on your own, and don't wait for somebody to offer themselves either. Ask your friends or your family member if they want to be the official sous chef of the night. It is of tremendous value when you've got somebody around who can help you with little things like, can you please toss the salad? Can you put this on the table? Can you answer my text because my hands are dirty? It frees you up so you can now focus on the things that really need your attention and your skills. And most of the time, people love being the sous chef. They'll even feel special that you asked. And that's it. That's my dinner party planning system. Now you're more than welcome to download these templates, which I personally use, or you can just take the idea and create something that works for you. But the takeaway message is this. Investing a little time in planning and spreading out the workload throughout the week will eliminate all that dinner party stress that you might have. Now I hope you found this helpful. If you enjoy the show, please click to subscribe, and I wish you a wonderful, stress-free party.